Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Minig. I am the host of the Behavioral Health Integration Podcast. This will be episode number 3, based on career outlooks. Now, this episode is going to go in a few different directions. First, I want to get into the curriculum of a lot of the professional fields. I want to get into the LADC curriculum on the types of classes and hour requirements to be eligible for licensure as an LADC. Now, it's very important to take into consideration that I will be discussing the eligibility requirements in the state of Minnesota. I believe every state's a little bit different too, so that's important to take into consideration. I actually believe that in some states it's not even a licensed profession, but they're more considered as certified addiction counselors, so it's important to know that. And also, I kind of want to give a little history lesson too in this. And please, anyone, correct me if I'm wrong too. Again, always leave a comment down below if I give some misleading information. But I believe the LADC position started in Minnesota, I believe in the 1950s, 60s. At this time, it was really strongly about AA and AA groups and community. And I believe the first facilities that would hire addiction counselors would be like hospitals in the area. And there wouldn't really be any college education required. I think you needed a high school diploma. But the very first addiction counselors would actually have been AA members. There'd be like veteran AA members that would be hired on as an addiction counselor in the state of Minnesota, and I feel like it was like this throughout most of the country and everything. So, yeah, they would be veteran members of AA, and they would work with clients in the hospital, and I believe that's how they got their original start. You kind of got grandfathered in as a licensed addiction counselor at that time. Then, as the 80s and 90s went along, there started to be more like requirements to become a licensed alcohol drug counselor in the state of Minnesota. So a lot of this information I'm actually right now getting from the Minnesota Board of Behavioral Health website. So, and I guess I could just start off with the requirements before 2008 because that's what I could find. And before 2008, the requirements were just a 2-year degree for addiction counseling. And I believe that was around roughly 60 credits or so. Plus, I'm assuming it was the 880-hour internship experience as well. So then after July 1st of 2008, I believe, it changed its requirements to having a bachelor's degree. Now, this is actually very interesting. You could actually have a bachelor's degree in any field, and I also believe that is true today. You could have a degree in exercise science like myself, or art, or chemistry and whatnot, and still get like a LAD certificate course, or take, I believe it's more of like, again, a certification. So you take like 18 credits, and you do your internship hours, and then you could be an LADC once you pass the exam and whatnot. But getting back to the 2-year degree change and whatnot, so you would have, I believe, roughly 5 years to get your licensed alcohol drug counseling classes over with. So again, you'd have an undergraduate degree too. So I think a 5-year plan is good enough too, And I guess they, quote, say no more than 5 years until a bachelor's degree is obtained. So that has been the requirement since 2008. But yeah, I remember vaguely this change because I entered the field probably like around 2012 as a personal trainer. But I heard a lot of counselors kind of talk about this, and there was like a lot of negative issues too, because a lot of them felt like the other undergrad fields or whatever didn't have the right to be in their field if they just took like on average of like, let's just say 18 to like 25 credits, because in some people's eyes that's just really not enough, but that's just the way the licensing board is right now. So anyways, now I want to get into actually how you apply to be an LADC in the state of Minnesota. First, and again, this really confused me. You go to the MCB site, so it's the Minnesota Certification Board, so it's mcboard.org, and that's where you actually go to sign up to take your exam. So you apply there, you send them your credentials and everything, and then that's where you set yourself up to take the exam. And there's multiple different locations in Minnesota where you can do that. So once all that paperwork is done and it's sent in, you just show up to your site that you chosen and you take the exam. It's normally like 3 hours long. I was able to finish it like an hour and a half. And you just need to score above a 500 to pass, I believe. And once you pass, and you should know right away, but they still... Again, once you find out you passed, you still have to wait like a period of a week or two for everything just to get processed. And here's another confusing part. So you don't continue with the MCB. You actually go to the Department of Behavioral Health in Minnesota. So the DHS website, and then you fill out another application through them. And then before that too, I think you also have to send your transcripts over there. Just stating that you passed the exam, I believe. I could be wrong, but anyways, you apply to the behavioral health site or the Department of Health and Human Services, and once you apply there, you send it in. And by the way, I think it's like a $300 application fee or $200 application fee. I don't remember. And then once you send that in, they have to get all that information, and then that could take a month, up to a month, I'm guessing. But yeah, it's a really painful process. Oh, it's so irritating. You know, if that's one thing I wish they would work on, is just making that process easier and maybe going through just one department rather than just going to like back and forth. But oh, and another thing I forgot to, for that first application process for the MCB, that also requires a fee for the application. I think that is roughly $200. Maybe it might be $225. Yeah, lots of money, and a lot of multiple steps to get through this process. I'll tell you what. Now, next, I want to get into the process of like the actual career and looking for jobs and everything. And this is where I'm just going to go in multiple different directions too. I'm also going to get into chemical dependency technicians, because I was one and I have great respect for that position. And then I'll combine both of them as a whole too, so it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of interesting viewpoints I'm going to throw out there too. So, but yeah, just as a career outlook too for a licensed alcohol drug counselor, I'm just going to tell you right now the outlook is very, very good. I'm not really sure what the BLS.gov site says, but I can guarantee you it's above average. I'll give you that. It's really above average. For the most part, you will not have issues finding a job, especially if you're like me and you have a master's degree, especially like in co-occurring. And also there's other degrees too. You can get like a social worker degree combined with LADC, or LMFT combined with LADC. That's another great combination, by the way. And a lot of different routes you can go once you get to grad school. But get back on track to the original LADC position. There's obviously a lot of different types of sites you can work at, and you'll really find your niche once you complete your actual internship process. You know, you'll start to like understand, okay, you know, I might like working at a hospital, or I might like working at a treatment center, or intensive outpatient, or outpatient, you know. And then to go even deeper, you'll find like a population niche, you know, that you might like more, like working with kids, teenagers, adults, or just more of a minority population. There's so many different types of populations you can work with too, you know. And then you might find out down the road that, you know, you might be actually into something that you weren't originally into. That's always really cool, you know. But again, my main pet peeve about this field, and I think I mentioned this in my first episode too, is the low pay for what we actually do. And I just don't think it's right, and I thoroughly believe that licensed alcohol drug counselors all around need to be paid a lot more than they actually do for just the amount of paperwork they do. That's a whole nother animal. My God. Okay, if I can get our salaries increased, that's my biggest goal, or that would be my biggest goal. My second biggest goal was to minimize the paperwork, because that is also horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. But obviously you got to take one step at a time. And so I'm actually on the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS website I was talking about earlier. And they state that the median pay for LADCs is $47,660 a year. So that is equivalent to $22.91 per hour. Now they're using the updated educational requirement, which is bachelor's degree. And I still, again, think that's just way too low for the type of work that we actually do, you know, for the people in our community. It's really just disgusting. You know, it really is. And, but I guess you could say that looks good. It's rated as 25%, much faster than average. And I'm just going to let you all know right now. Let's just say, you know, like things don't work out at a job or whatever. There's most likely a chance that you'll find a new job before your 2 weeks notice is up. So I guess that's a plus in this field. I guess in a sense, you know, if you want to just think of more of a positive mindset, I guess, you know. And I could speak through this type of field where there's not really a lot of knowledge on individuals like me who, let's say, have graduated with a co-occurring degree, like a master's level degree, either in like mental health addiction, or LMFT, all the other routes that I mentioned earlier. You know, there's not really like a website you can go to where you can find that stuff, like what's the average pay for when you're leaving grad school, you know. And I'm not going to lie, I was very naive while I was in school. You know, I thought I was going to like make a really nice, good salary, you know, when I graduated college, because like in my head it's like, yeah, finally, like, God, I worked my ass off. I never worked so hard in my life to get a master's degree, you know, worked my ass off for 3 years, whatever. You know, it's not really like entitlement, but it's just like you earned like a lot of, I don't know, respect for yourself, I guess, going through a process like that, and you deserve to be compensated, you know what I mean? And what I actually did right now is I took the salaries of other healthcare providers in this field. 1 second here. So the first one I pulled up is a registered nurse. So to be a registered nurse, similar to like being an LADC, I think a long time ago, you could be an RN with a 2-year degree. Now they're stating it's a bachelor's degree. And like nursing is very difficult, like educational wise. I've never disagreed with that. God, I hear there's like 2 to 3 year waiting lists just to get in nursing programs, so it's a very competitive field. And their 2020 median pay comes out to, and again, this is the same BLS site, is $75,330 per year. So that's equivalent to $36.22 per hour. So again, you compare that to just the licensed alcohol drug counselor at the bachelor's degree level. Huge gap. Huge gap. Alright, and the job outlook for nurses is obviously not quite as good. It's 7%, so faster than average, but an LADC is 25%, so there is that. And I'm just going to bring up some more healthcare professions right now, because there's this like little tab where you can just click on like similar healthcare jobs and they can give you all the same information too. So right here, dental hygienist, that's a 2-year degree at a community college. Now, the median pay for that is $77,000. That is a great salary for a 2-year degree. Even though, again, do you want to be a dental hygienist? Messing with people's teeth and whatnot. But no, that is a great salary. Next one is medical sonographers, and yeah, so that is associate degree, so a 2-year degree. For that, that's a $70,000 salary on average. $70,000. LPNs, licensed practical nurse, all right? So I don't even think that's a 2-year degree. That's just a post-secondary non-degree award. So again, if some nurses ever want to chime in or whatever, leave comments, is that more just like that? Here's my question: is it like a 1-year thing to be an LPN, or is it like a 6-month class? I don't know. But their salary is $48,000, so it's just as much as a LADC, or maybe a little bit more. And I'm sure it depends a lot on where you work, facility-wise, like a prison, hospital, and such. Okay, let me see if I can find another one that's pretty good. Respiratory therapist. All right. Now, that's associate's degree, but I know they also have like undergrad degrees for that position, master's even. And their average is $62,810. So you kind of may ask yourselves, why am I doing this? Why is Jake doing this right now? What's his angle? And I'll just tell you, by all means, I'm not saying these professions don't deserve to be making the salary they're making. I'm not saying they don't work hard. I'm not saying that they're not going through a lot of stress in their jobs, because I know it could be stressful. But I doubt they're going through more stress than an LADC. But at the same time, that's also not even the point I'm trying to make, because we can all have good days, bad days, population. They can all be stressful jobs, right? All I'm trying to fight for is for LADCs to make a higher salary. That's it. Now, I stop and think, too, about what I originally said about complaining, right? You could be like a worker at a facility and you're complaining to your boss, hey, I don't like this and that, but what's the solution? What's your idea of making the situation better, right? Rather than just bitching and complaining. And what the hard thing is this? It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know, like, the first step that we would have to do as LADCs to actually, like, you know what I mean, make this happen. I literally have no idea, but I want to learn. I really do. I want to gain knowledge on what the next steps would be, So it's really equivalent to, again, going back to, like, the worker and the boss, where the worker's complaining and the boss is like, all right, what's the solution? Well, I could be like the worker right now and say, you know what, I don't know, but can you help me find a solution? Can we work together on finding a solution? Now, again, I don't know who the boss would be in this situation. I don't know if it's, like, again, the Department of Health and Human Services, the government. I literally have no idea. Maybe some of my listeners can help educate me on that too, So, this is just something I just really just feel passionate about, because I've been through the ringer so many times as a counselor, working with a tough population, dealing with the client, what they're going through in their lives and everything. And it's so funny because I kind of compare it to the definition of insanity. Now, this is like an old school, like, counseling term that they like to apply to clients and types of thinking. But really, what is the definition of insanity? Well, it's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Now, I really ask a person like this, especially entry-level positions in this field, like, again, clinical dependency techs, group home workers, everyone that, again, is in that entry-level position, working in the treatment center field or in the mental health addiction field, You may think that's insane, and let me tell you why. Okay? You're going to work, you're getting paid very little. Alright, this is going to be crazy, but I'm going to tell all my listeners right now, when I started out as a chemical dependency tech, this might have been like 5.5 years ago, or whatever, I was making $9.75 an hour, working with adolescents with mental health and addiction issues. Alright? $9.75 an hour. That's horrible. That's horrible. So hear me out. The insanity type part is, like, again, going to a job that pays very little, dealing with the extreme amount of stress, anger, and anxiety in the workplace, dealing with the clients, which again puts more stress and anxiety on you, and stress and anxiety working with staff, because you don't always get the best staff members to work with. And that's just like in any profession too, right? And I'm just going to say a lot of the times, treatment center staff do not get along with each other. I'm just going to say it. It's so true. Again, like any other field. I'm not trying to knock anyone right now, all right? But just take all that into consideration. Low pay, stressful clientele, stressful coworkers. My God, it's a freaking time bomb. It's a ticking time bomb ready to blow. So you really ask someone, what sane person would do that every day, day in and day out? Going to the treatment center or working with a population highly in need. And also, I get it. We're in the profession to help people. Absolutely. Again, I'm always going to say this. This isn't a profession that you really choose. It's more chosen for you, or it chooses you. You know, I said that the first episode, okay? But I cannot tell you how much it really pisses me off, even with a tech, and especially now that I'm a therapist. Counselors come up to me and say, oh, well, you know, we're not in it for the money. That really grinds my freaking gears. And I'm going to tell you why right now. Them just saying that is just strengthening the stereotype that we don't need a lot of money or we don't make a lot of money. And it's just BS. And again, the more they say it, the more they strengthen that stereotype. What is so wrong with making a decent amount of money in this field? I'll ask you that. Okay, and I'm not saying rich, alright? Of course, you know, it's going to be very difficult in this field to make 200, 300 grand, whatever, you know what I mean? But, like, what's wrong with saying you just want a good salary and help people? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately, right now in this field, they don't want to pay us for what we're worth. And we need to change that. We need to change that more than anything. We need to be taken care of. We need to take care of each other better. That's why I feel like we need to start advocating for this stuff more. Again, I don't know the first step, but maybe there's a couple of really smart people out there that can help us all out and we can get going, you know? But God, again, I cannot tell you how much that pisses me off. Oh, we're not in it for the money. Oh my God. Alright? I hope you all enjoyed my little heart-to-heart there. It's all about change, and we gotta be a part of it, you know? Now, I'm going to slightly shift gears to my graduate school listeners. The ones who are either almost done with their master level programs, or they're starting out, or they're considering it. This part's going to be for you, you know? Again, it's going to be more based on the career outlook after and what's required to be actually licensed. And like I said before, it's just like, you really work your ass off for 2 to 3 years. I know I did. And this can give a lot of clarification to the ones, again, who have that LADC next to their name, either with LMFT, social working, co-occurring, and such, where you really don't know where you stand. I feel like there's 2 routes you can go. You can either, like, after you graduate, go like the mental health route, or you can go to like the treatment center route or the addiction route. Because what someone said to me a while ago, there's no really such thing as co-occurring. There just isn't when it comes to like a billing sense. You know, there's the I don't know what it's called, like the 245G like billing system where like addiction counselors or addiction facilities like bill for their sessions, and there's like the mental health side of things where they use their system to like bill, but there's no like system that bills co-occurring kind of stuff. So I actually found that to be very interesting. And yeah, you just really don't know where you stand because, again, what once told me is get your LADC because it's really easy to get a job compared to when you're just like a mental health therapist that just graduated. Yeah, you can get jobs as like a mental health counselor, but sometimes those jobs can be low paying, but they pay for your supervision. And what really just ticks me off, though, too, is just that the fact that we're just not respected or honored more. And I'll get to this example right now, is that some states consider you a trainee. Like, when you graduate grad school, work your butt off, in some states, like, the position or the title is either, like, a psychologist assistant or trainee, and that is completely disrespectful in my opinion. You're worth more than that. And you just, again, you don't really know where you stand, you know. In my honest opinion, I feel like every graduate student who graduates from a master program should be making $70K a year starting out. I know, crazy, right? Pipe dream, but we deserve it, and I feel that's right. And no one's going to convince me otherwise. You know, we work too hard. We do too much not to be taken care of. We really do. You know, and that's just one of my passions. The things that I feel strongly about. Because, again, it's bad enough that in the state of Minnesota, you need 4,000 supervision hours before you're going to even be eligible to be a licensed LPCC. God, don't even get me started on that. That's such bullshit. It is. I'm sorry. I understand the value of supervision. Trust me, I do. I have a great supervisor right now, and she's helped me out so much. I think I'm like around like 600 hours right now. And it is a great service. It's a great idea. It really does help you become a professional in this field. Nothing against supervision. 4,000 hours? Yeah, you bet your ass I have something to say about that. Let's just say I got a big freaking problem with that. And it's just a money scheme. It's a way for DHS, whatever, to get extra money from us, or however that works. It's just BS. In my honest opinion, yes, it's a valuable service, but there's no difference through my lens, through my viewpoints, between, let's say, 2,000 hours, right? 2,000 hours compared to 4,000 hours of supervision. I personally do not see a difference in that. Not a lot. Not a lot. I really don't. And it's a money scheme. And let's be honest, like, the reason, like, we become licensed is to make a good salary, be eligible to, like, work in more places. It's easier to bill insurances. You know, it really sets you up very well. You know? And you really just stop and think how many students are post-grads, you know, when they graduate, how many of them actually burn out and quit this field? How many? That would be a really interesting stat to find out, because they're not being taken care of by their facility, their employer, they're not getting paid enough, and they gotta wait 4,000 hours. And a lot of places don't pay for their supervision. Some do, though. Some do. And here's the thing with that. From what I was told is that a lot of places that will do that, again, that's a great service, will sometimes pay you a little bit less just because they give you free supervision. I'm not saying all places are like that, but some are. But that's a very sad thing, and that's a pure sign of us not taking care of one another. Because, again, I'm not making this podcast just to bitch and complain. I want to see progress. I want to, like, help this field, you know? And when I see, like, issues like that of, like, possible great therapists leaving this field because they're not getting taken care of, that puts a fire in me. That puts a fire in me to actually do something about it. And I hope it does for you too, you know? Because again, it's not just about us, it's about the future of this profession, the future of this field. You know, what's going to happen in 20 years? Where are we going to be in 20 years, 30 years from now? Are we going to be evolved? Are we going to stay the same? Or is it just going to get worse? You know, these are things that we really need to take in consideration of. Again, where are we now? And where do we want to go? All right? Well, I think that's about it. I just, again, want to thank you all for listening to my podcast, 3rd episode. I feel like I'm moving along. I'm really excited, really happy. And I have you listeners to thank. I'm very, very honored and blessed to be doing this. And just know, again, everything or anything that I say in this podcast is not supposed to be taken as mental health therapy or any type of mental health service. If you find yourself having any type of emotional issues or concerns, please seek the services of a professional licensed therapist or medical care provider. All right, everyone, thank you and have a good day. Bye.